All right, let's get right into it. We've all been there, right? Feeling sick, out of breath, your heart racing, and you just feel off. It's so easy to think of these things as glitches, as our body's just failing us. But what if I told you that behind all those uncomfortable feelings, there's a brilliant, kind of hidden logic at play? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and uncover how your body is actually protecting you, even when it feels like it's working against you. So, that's the big question we're tackling. Are these experiences just bugs in our system? Annoying glitches in our programming? Or are they sophisticated, intelligent defense mechanisms? Is there some kind of genius strategy behind all that misery? We are going to dig into the science and find out.
Let's kick things off with a scenario that pushes the body to its absolute limits, climbing to a super high altitude and fast. We're going to explore how your body deals with that intense stress and the totally bizarre chain reaction it kicks off.
Okay, this is like a perfect physiological domino effect. Check it out. First, you get to high altitude and there's just less oxygen. That's called hypoxia. So what does your body do? The obvious thing, right? It makes you breathe faster to try and grab more oxygen. But this hyperventilation has a weird side effect. You start breathing out way too much carbon dioxide. And since CO2 is an acid in your blood, when you lose it, your blood pH starts to rise. It becomes more alkaline. And you know, this state has a fancy name, respiratory alkalosis. Respiratory because, well, it starts with your breathing, and alkalosis because your blood is getting too alkaline or basic. So in trying to solve the oxygen problem, your body has accidentally created a whole new problem with your blood chemistry.
And here is where it gets really wild. This is such a great example of the body making these crazy trade-offs. See, in your blood, you have calcium floating around, and it needs to be free and active to do its job. But when your blood becomes alkaline, that free calcium gets bound up by other proteins. It's basically taken out of commission. And with less active calcium available, your nerves get super excitable, which can lead to these uncontrollable muscle twitches. So the body's fix for low oxygen creates a brand new problem for your muscles. Insane, right?
You know, that idea of a seemingly bad response actually being part of a solution, that leads us straight to the heart. Because in the heart, we find another one of these counterintuitive mechanisms. It's this beautiful, self-regulating logic that you can see most clearly when the heart is actually struggling. It's this elegant, rhythmic dance between a weak beat and a strong one.
Now, to get this, we have to talk about something called the Frank-Starling law. It's a fundamental rule of how the heart works, and it's super simple, really. The more blood you fill the heart with, the more the heart muscle stretches, the harder it's going to squeeze on the next beat. More stretch equals a bigger pump. That's it. Input is proportional to output.
And believe it or not, that one simple rule perfectly explains this really strange thing doctors sometimes see in patients with a failing heart. It's called pulses alternans, and it is exactly what it sounds like. You feel their pulse, and it goes strong beat, weak beat, strong beat, weak beat. But why on earth would a struggling heart do that?
Here is the absolute genius of the system. A failing heart gives a weak pump, so it doesn't push all the blood out. That means more blood is left over inside. Well, that leftover blood gets added to the next batch of blood coming in, which causes a much, much bigger stretch. And what did the Frank-Starling law tell us? A bigger stretch means a bigger, stronger contraction. So the weak beat isn't a failure, it's the perfect setup for the strong beat that comes right after it. It's this incredible, self-correcting loop. Okay, so we've looked at the lungs and the heart. Now let's zoom out and go to the big boss, the brain. We're going to use one of the most common things we all go through, getting a fever, to understand how the brain literally rewrites the rules of the game to help you fight off an infection. You see, a fever isn't your body just randomly overheating. No, it's a very deliberate defensive strategy. It all starts with these little things called pyrogens. They can be parts of bacteria or even chemicals released by your own immune cells. And you can think of them like tiny little messengers carrying one simple instruction to the brain: hey, turn up the thermostat.
So if the brain has a thermostat, where is it? I mean, how does a little chemical messenger find that one specific control knob in an organ as complex as the brain?
Well, it turns out that message has a very specific address. It goes straight to a tiny spot in the hypothalamus called the preoptic nucleus. This is the brain's thermostat. The pyrogens get there and trigger the release of another molecule, prostaglandin E2. And that is the chemical that physically reaches over and turns the dial on your body's set point.
And this explains everything about how a fever feels. This is why you feel cold and get the chills when you have a fever. Your brain has just decided that the new normal is, say, 101 degrees, but your body is still at 98.6.
So to your brain, you're cold. The shivering is just your body desperately trying to generate heat to get you up to that new, higher target that the brain has intentionally set to help fight the infection. It's brilliant.
Okay, from the brain's command center, let's zoom way, way down, all the way to the microscopic level. We're going to look at a fundamental rule about how our cells get the energy they need to live, and how sometimes there's a really clever workaround.
So, for a lot of your body, getting sugar or glucose out of the blood and into the cells is a really tightly controlled process. In fact, there are 3 major tissues that are what we call insulin dependent. That's your skeletal muscle, your heart, and your fat tissue. Basically, these guys can't take up sugar from the blood unless insulin gives them the okay. So how does this work? Well, think of insulin as the key. It shows up at the cell and basically unlocks a process that tells the cell to bring these special sugar doors, they're called GLUT4 transporters, up to the surface. Those doors open, and swoosh, glucose flows right into the cell. It's how you lower your blood sugar. Okay, but here's the kicker. This is the truly incredible part. Physical exercise can also tell your muscle cells to bring those same GLUT4 doors to the surface, and it does it in a way that is completely 100% independent of insulin. This is why exercise is so powerful for people with diabetes. It gives your body an alternate pathway, like a biological backdoor, to get sugar into your cells, no insulin required. So, high altitude, heart failure, fevers, cellular mechanics. What's the big picture here? What does it all add up to? Well, all of these stories point to one thing: a profoundly intelligent system that is constantly adjusting, making trade-offs, and protecting you. And that brings us to the most sophisticated, most impressive type of control your body has. Most of us know about feedback control. It's reactive. You get dehydrated, then your body releases a hormone to save water. A change happens, then the body responds. But there's a whole other level called feed-forward control. This is anticipatory. For example, the moment your skin gets cold, your body starts shutting down the blood vessels there to save heat before your deep, core body temperature has even dropped a fraction of a degree. It's a preemptive strike.
This is the absolute pinnacle of your body's intelligence. It isn't just reacting to problems after they happen, it's predicting them. The hypothalamus feels that cold on your skin and anticipates the future threat to your core temperature, so it launches a defense before any real damage is done.
And that kind of leaves us with this one last amazing thought. We've seen the logic behind a racing heart, a fever, even muscle twitches. These aren't glitches, they're features. They're part of an unbelievably sophisticated predictive machine. And it just makes you wonder, right? If the body is this smart, if it's this good at predicting the future, what other secret logics are at work inside of us right this second that we haven't even begun to understand?